Ladies and gentlemen, we have a race.
Hi, this is Mark from Skywagon University, and today we always have very interesting people in here to talk about aviation stories. We've already had Bob McCormack in here talking about an ejection out of an F-16. He very kindly came in and talked us through that. But since then, we've been to the Roswell air races with a couple of jets and won it. The jet class, Bob won the winning. He won the gold with the jet, and we're going to basically talk to Bob about how that happened and how the week went. So, Bob, thanks for coming in.
Thank you for having me, Mark.
So how was it? I mean, I was there, but it's great to hear you break it down, because it wasn't one day, one race. It was
No, it was fabulous, and it was a dream come true. I've been racing since 2016, so this is basically my 10th races. And this year we brought two aircraft, your aircraft Race 6 Freya, and our aircraft Race 1 Athena.
The black one.
The black one.
Black and red, if you're watching them on the different videos.
Yes, and prior to going to Roswell, I'd owned Race 1 for a year, but not once did I have an opportunity to fly her fast. The times I'd flown her were around the local area and to and from at basically a max range speed to conserve fuel. So it wasn't until I got to Roswell that I was able to open her up and see what she could do.
What did you think she'd do?
Well, I'd had another one prior, and I'd had access to a third Super L-29, and they were in the high 480, 470 miles per hour, which is what the air race speeds are registered in. And so I expected to have a similar aircraft, because they were all, 5 of those aircraft were made by a man named Steve Kalmar.
There's only 5 Super L-29s.
Oh, there's actually 1 or 2 more, but they were made by a different manufacturer. But the 5, I call the one I have is the last of the Mohicans, because there was only 5, and all the others are spoken for. So Race 1 Athena is a plane of her own, and I found out when I got to Roswell that she was quite a bit faster than the other Super L-29. In any case, Race 1 Athena was completely unaltered. We didn't adjust her. We didn't make any adjustments to the engine whatsoever. In fact, we normally take the little tiny steps off the aircraft to reduce drag, to make it go just a little bit faster. But she was so fast, we didn't have to do that this time at all. And prior to the races, we have our Pylon racing seminar, which is normally when we train our new pilots, but because Roswell is a new course, everyone has to experience the course before they can race in September. So just prior to the races, I came out early, and we flew 3 or 4 flights for course familiarization. That was my first time on the course with any aircraft. Race 1 was very fast, and that was the first indication I got of how special she was.
What was the difference?
In the other Super L-29s I'd flown, the highest indicated speed I got to see on the airspeed indicator was just slightly below 400 knots indicated. And again, the race speeds are calculated or advertised in miles per hour. So if you take the true airspeed and the altitude and run it through the computer, that comes out to somewhere around 470, 480. Well, with Race 1 Athena, going around the course for PRS, I actually saw 420 knots indicated, and that was not at full power. It was significantly more powerful and faster than the others. So here I was racing a stock L-29 Race 6 Freya, your aircraft.
In the silver.
In the silver race, and there were 4 stock L-29s in the silver race, and believe it or not, at other times they had all beaten each other, so they were all very compatible in speed aircraft. But going around the race course, they were in the high 300s of speed, basically 100 miles an hour or more slower than Race 1 Freya. And that set up than Race 1 Athena, correct. Thank you for correcting me. So that made a big difference in perception on the race course. So on the first race day of the races was Wednesday, I think that's September 10th. And Race 1 Athena had qualified at a speed of 519 miles per hour, which was an amazing speed.
Nearly too fast.
Nearly too fast. I was very fortunate that on that day I did not go to complete full power either, so I was afraid of exceeding the course speed limit of 525 miles an hour. If you get a speed of 526 miles an hour, you're actually disqualified. So I was kind of threading a needle.
6 miles an hour.
6 miles an hour. I didn't want to go that 6 miles an hour faster because it would have invalidated my speed. So on the for qualification, you do 2 laps, and they take the better speed of the 2 laps. But on the first lap, I went a little bit slower so that there was no chance of getting disqualified. So I would have at least gotten a qualifying speed so I could race during race week. And on the second lap, I pushed it up almost to full power, but not quite. And I was very fortunate that I got 519 rather than 526. So Race 1 Athena had the pole position, which is a huge advantage on Wednesday.
So that's the inside plane of the turns.
Yes. Anybody who's watched our races is we take off, follow our pace aircraft, and rejoin in order of our qualifying speeds. So this is the pace airplane, that's the pole position, and then the other aircraft are out in their qualifying speed. You come down the chute, we call it, line abreast. So
on the 6.
There's 6 aircraft.
Only ever 6.
And you want to be perfectly line abreast. You don't want to be ahead, because if you're ahead, they will tell you to pull up, that you're giving yourself an advantage that you're not allowed. And if you're behind, you're hurting yourself by not being line abreast. So everybody has a vested interest to be line abreast coming down the chute. So on the first day, they have the silver race first. And so I was racing Race 6 Freya, Mark's airplane.
Slow one.
And it's much slower. So going around the course at that speed, it looks significantly different than it does at the faster speed with Race 1. And that went and bit me going from one aircraft to the other, because when you fly the slower aircraft, go around the pylons, there's a certain place in your canopy you're going to look for the next pylon. And with Race 1, when I went around Pylon 3, looked for Pylon 4, it wasn't there.
Whoops.
So here I am, basically no longer on the course because I wasn't able to locate Pylon 4, and there was some discussion on the radio, And for safety, I pulled the aircraft up and recovered. And for that, I was given a did not finish, meaning I start the race, but I didn't finish the race.
But the view from us on the stands was Bob just disappeared off the course. And you were ahead of everybody, and suddenly everybody's overtaking you and you're gone, and we're thinking, what's going on? And then you rejoined. So that was a bit nerve-wracking to watch.
Yes, and it was for me as well, because I knew that my error had put me back in the standings for the next day. In fact, it put me back to 5th position for the Thursday flight. So I came in and talked to Mark and others and explained what had happened. And I said, ordinarily this would be a huge catastrophe, but this aircraft is so fast that we have a plan for this. And so the plan for the next day was to start the race in the 5th position and then systematically overtake the other aircraft in the flight until I was in 2nd position or 3rd, depending upon how the airplane was doing and how I felt, and would allow us to be in a position to prevail on the next few days of the races. So the next day came time to race, and I was in 5th position. On the first lap, I overtook the aircraft in the 4th position, and on the next lap I passed the aircraft in the 3rd position, and on the lap after that, or the one after that, I passed the aircraft in 2nd place. So now Race 1 Athena is in 2nd place, which is where I wanted her to be.
Yeah.
And so I throttled back and stayed there, and finished in 2nd place.
And we watched you just go take. It was like you were playing with them.
Well, the aircraft was very fast. And then on the Friday race, it was my intention to pass Scott Farnsworth, who was in the pole position. So that's where I would be for the Saturday and Sunday races. And so on
Saturday it rained.
Saturday it rained. So on Friday I actually I was successful in passing Scott Farnsworth and went out in front. But in doing so, I actually cut a pylon, which I've only done one other time in the 10 years I've been racing. And both times happened during a pass of another aircraft. I was past Scott going around pylons 4, 5, and 6, and in order to regain my line, Scott has to call me clear for me to come back in, or I have to be able to see that I'm clear to return, so I have my line. I heard something on the radio, but I didn't hear the words clear, so I looked over my left-hand shoulder to verify that I was clear, and when I did that, I ended up cutting inside of pylon 7. And the natural tendency is to try and fade back to the right to get back on the course, but we're not allowed to turn right. And Scott Farnsworth very accurately told me to basically accept the pylon cut and not do that, for which I thanked him after the race. And so I knew I had a pylon cut, which gives you a 12-second penalty on your speed. Going around the race course at 480, 490, 500 miles an hour, I didn't want to do the math in my head as to how much faster I would have to go to make up that 12 seconds. So I went pretty well as fast as the airplane could go to try and make it up.
Make the difference so big, 12 seconds didn't matter.
Well, and when I landed, not being a math major, I still didn't have an idea where I would be the next day. And the other pilots said, "Oh, sorry, you got a pylon. You may be in second, you may be in third. We don't know where you'll be." And when the dust settled, it turns out that even with the pylon cut, I was still significantly out in front. So the next day I would be in the pole position, which is where I wanted to be.
And that's the final.
Well, it turned out to be the final.
Because of the rain, yeah.
Because Saturday should have been another race, but the final race was on Sunday. So I'd have to defend myself on Saturday, but because of the rain, the silver race and the gold race were canceled for the day. So it's set up for the finale on Sunday. The race course was very well designed. There's no terrain whatsoever, which is significantly different from our last venue. But they very kindly put lights on most of the pylons for us to be able to see, even if the visibility wasn't perfect. So now we come to the Sunday race. So we taxi out as normal, took off, rejoined, and came down the chute. And the Pace aircraft pulled up, and he said, "Gentlemen, you have a race." And so I wanted to be out in front, but I didn't want to, go so fast that I would exceed the course speed limit and get disqualified. That would be bad. I didn't want to cut any pylons, and I didn't want to do anything else to get disqualified. So I didn't go to full power. I just went to a power setting that I thought would keep me out in front, which it did. And race 1 Athena went around the pylon 6 times. On the 5th lap, at the home pylon, they wave a white flag indicating it's your last lap. And then on the next lap, they wave a checkered flag, meaning the race is complete.
Bob, do you know how close number 2 is?
I don't. I have no way of knowing. My airplane only has a single radio. So in other years with aircraft that had 2 radios, I could have had my crew chief with a handheld telling me where the other competitors are relative to me. But in this aircraft, it only had 1 radio.
So it could have been right there. It could have been a mile away.
And I had no idea. I felt I was going fast enough that I was out ahead, and so that I didn't feel he was right on my tail. And if I had seen him, I had the ability to push the throttle up to correct that. Race 1 Athena is a wonderful aircraft, very well built, very well engineered and clean on the inside, and the engine was spectacular. So I was very thankful to be flying her this time. So when I passed the home pylon for the 6th time after the checkered flag, I pulled up, and we have a standard recovery route, which I used, and came in and landed. And we normally land on what's called the hot side of the runway, and we transition after that to the cold side of the runway for safety purposes, to allow the next aircraft to be able to land on the hot side. And if he's not able to slow down as well, he has a way to go by the aircraft in front of them. So I came up to where I turn off the runway, and this is where I would know whether I won or not. If I heard the words, race 1, turn left on taxiway Charlie, that'd be my indication from race control that we had won.
To go in front of the stadium.
To go in front of the crowd. If not, if they said return to the chocks, then I would know that something bad had happened and I was not the winner. Well, thank goodness I did hear race 1, turn left on taxiway Charlie. And the video I took, if it's hearable, you'll be able to hear me repeat that back. We didn't have the communications plugged into the camera I had in the cockpit. However, it did record anything I said when the engine was at a low power setting, like taxiing. And so they told me to taxi in front of the crowd, which I did. I was parked by my crew chief, Mike Swern, and came to a stop, shut down the engine. My beautiful wife Johanna was there. My other helper Nathan was there, and we shut down the aircraft, and I got out, and I had the privilege of being met by the Reno Air Racing Association CEO, and they very kindly presented me my first place trophy right in front of the crowd.
We were there
For the first time.
It was brilliant.
Mark was there. Other members of the Plane Crazy Life group were there, and it was just a dream come true. I've been doing this for as long as I have. Never won the gold.
Johanna was crying, hugging you. You were covered in sweat, G-forced out. It must have been brilliant.
It was. The airplane was very hot. L-29s are normally very hot, and it has a glass canopy that the sun goes through, and it's painted black. What could possibly go wrong?
And the L-39s have got air conditioning, but they don't even use it when they race, do they?
No, if you want to be competitive, you turn off your air conditioning as part of your fence check to get ready for racing. So yes, I was very hot. This is my second race of the day. I had raced race 6 Freya to 4th in the silver, and then went and raced race 1 Athena in the gold. I was very tired. I was very hot. Yes, I was covered with sweat from being in that cockpit. But it was the most wonderful feeling I've had, and it was a great experience.
It was great to watch.
And race 1 was fabulous. The engine, the aircraft, everything worked flawlessly.
And a bit of background about the engines is the stock engine's 1,800 pounds of thrust, and your engine is how many?
It's over 3,000.
And it's from a Saberliner.
Yes.
Corporate jet. One of them.
Yes, and like I said, this one was more powerful than the others I had flown, and just did a great job. In all honesty, not once did I ever use complete full power on the aircraft.
Never.
I didn't need to. I used what was necessary to complete the task. And from a military and an airline background, you want to baby your engine because A, it's the only one you have right now, and you want it to last as long as you can. So by not overboosting it or using full power too much, you prolong its life significantly.
Can you tell us what percentage power you're at to win it?
The limit on the engine by the book is 103.9 is what
percent
RPM you're allowed to go to. And I never went above 101%, so I still had 3% more to go on the engine.
Is that a lot at the top end?
It is. It's not a linear progression. The faster you go, the higher the power setting, the more additional thrust you get for each percent.
The difference from 50% to 53 is less than the 100 to 103.
Correct.
So that 3% is a lot.
It is. And we intend to bring Race 1 Athena to the races next year and defend our title.
Good. And any other planes, any other ideas you've got for racing? Because they might have a fast course at Reno coming up.
Yes, the Racing Jets has announced
At Roswell, sorry.
at Roswell there will be a 600-mile-an-hour course for fast jets, and hopefully they call it the super course. But it'll be for aircraft like the MiG-17 and the Alpha Jet. However, it's come to my attention that the British Folan Gnat,
British.
yes, would fill the niche very nicely. And so, as of right now, we're looking into the possibility of a Folan Gnat.
Are they? They're not very common, though, are they? That was what the Red Arrows flew in England.
Exactly, and they were a trainer for the RAF. Very, very fine jets, very small with a large Rolls-Royce Orpheus engine in it.
Because a gnat is a tiny little fly in England.
Yes.
Annoying, but very small.
But the aircraft is very small. I believe its wingspan is only 25 feet.
Yeah.
Compared to the L-29, which is 33, 34, 35 feet. So.
But it's a gas hog, the gnat. It's twice what the L-29 uses.
Yes, you get what you pay for. So
right.
You want to go faster, you put more fuel into it.
Yeah.
And away it does. Interestingly enough, the Gnat does not have an afterburner.
Oh.
So it is a non-afterburning aircraft, which would suit the race course well, because if you had that tremendous fuel flow of just the basic engine, then you add the fuel flow of the afterburner, you'd have to carry external tanks, which would kind of defeat your purpose
Right.
of trying to go as fast as you can, or you'd risk running out of fuel on the race course.
And they can be supersonic. The Folan Gnat can nearly break the sound barrier.
It can. That would be bad if it broke the sound barrier on the race course.
Yeah, it would. Yeah.
There would be spankings for that.
There's only like 4 flying in the world, isn't there?
I don't know. I think it's more than that. In my investigation, I found 2 that are available now, and Scott Farnsworth and I had a discussion about the Folan Gnat, and he might have already found one
In the U.S.
in the U.S. or in England. But I think that there should be enough for everyone. And
Maybe we have to have a road trip to England.
That would be a blast. That would be brilliant to go do that. But I believe the Folan Gnat is a right answer for the super course. But we will also bring Race 1 Athena for the gold course.
But if you've... Oh, okay, because I was going to say, how can you fly 2 planes? But one would be super, one would be gold.
Yes, the super course uses some of the pylons from the gold course, but it has additional pylons to make the super course bigger and able to absorb the speeds that those aircraft will fly without having to pull too many Gs on the course.
What would you say, having flown it, what would you say the new course is like? I mean, to people that haven't flown it but think they should have, or some of the classes that didn't come, what would you say about the new course at Roswell?
I think the new course was brilliantly planned and made, and with the addition of the lights on the pylons, it made it very much easier on the pilots to stay on the course. And my case of having difficulty was more switching back and forth between a slow aircraft and a fast aircraft in the same day, and having to learn 2 different muscle memories for the course.
Sorry about that, but thanks.
No, and I'll give you an example. Think of a big parking lot where you have a fast car that you can drive around the perimeter of this huge parking lot. And think of doing that as a driver at 50 miles an hour going around the perimeter of this big parking lot, and then try and view it at 90 miles an hour. It's a significantly more steering force and more perception force. Everything will come at you faster, and it'll look significantly different.
Was anybody else flying two planes?
Yes. Mark Davis flew his L-39 twice in both each day in the silver and the gold. And Scott Farnsworth flew his Super L-39 in the gold and his stock L-39 in the silver.
That's a lot.
Yes, and the weather in Roswell was completely different from the previous place. And there was a lot more humidity. And so instead of being a dry heat, it was a wet heat.
Is that better for a jet engine? I know car engines like a bit of moisture.
In all honesty, I can't remember. All I know is that ours did very well.
You did.
And Roswell is about 3,700 feet above sea level, whereas the previous place was 5,000 feet above sea level. So there were variables that made it all different.
So what's going to happen to Athena between this year and next year? Are you going to do any changes or upgrades or anything to her?
Athena is now scheduled to undergo a cockpit upgrade, which will take out most of the heavy instruments and radios and everything else, and put a big glass panel that will do many things, including it'll provide an autopilot.
Oh.
Which, I love to hand fly, but flying back and forth to Roswell is a chore. And
try it in a Mooney.
The addition of hand flying it at altitude, an autopilot will be.
So you won't be flying it with your iPhone balanced on the dash with ForeFlight like this year?
No, it'll have significantly better navigation capability.
Excellent.
She's going to get an electric hydraulic pump. We're going to remove the engine-driven hydraulic pump and install an electric one, which will make the hydraulic system much more user-friendly.
Flaps and gear,
and speed brakes. But all in all, she'll be a fairly similar aircraft. That I want to thank all the other competitors I had. Everyone I race with are wonderful pilots. They do a great job, and I trust them all completely on the race course. And next year, they'll bring either the planes they brought, or they'll bring faster and better aircraft.
Because now they know what it's like
to compete,
and they know what you've got.
And it's a wonderful place to race. Everyone should have as much fun or more fun next year. And I've been told the Thunderbirds will be at Roswell in 2026.
So next year, come out and see it in person.
Absolutely.
Bob, brilliant. Anything else that I haven't asked you? Anything else you want to add?
No, again, I'm always thankful to my beautiful wife, Johanna, and everybody who's on my crew, all the people that helped with the filming, getting the aircraft ready, Skywagon University, and Plane Crazy Life were all very helpful.
Brilliant, thanks. It was all new to me. It was amazing.
I hope that you enjoyed it as much as I did, because I really did enjoy this year a lot.
Oh, it was great. Yeah, I mean, we were there. You were there for like 10 days. We were there for about 5. But it was absolutely brilliant. Bob, thanks very much. In the video, we will have shown all kinds of footage and aerial scenes of it that will go with the narration. It was great to see it, to hear it from your point of view firsthand. And I'm a fully paid up member of the Reno Air Racing Association, apparently, for a year.
For the jet class,
Because I had one for a week.
Yeah, and that made you a voting member.
Yeah, it did.
For the racing.
And if anybody's wondering what happened to Freya, a friend of Bob's, who we met at Roswell, who had not seen you for 40 years, who was in Germany in the Air Force with him, came into the tent, and after a day of helping and hanging out with us, bought Freya off me, and Bob is now going to be helping Scott learn how to fly her and perhaps race her.
Yes, it was wonderful to get to see him and reconnect with
Scott Weaver.
Scott Weaver.
Dream Weaver. That's his call sign.
Yes.
Bob, thanks very much. It was brilliant.
You're welcome.
This is Skywagon University. So this is a Skywagon University podcast, but we're talking about a plain crazy life subject, because on its channel will be this whole week. So thanks very much for watching. We've got merch for both websites. We've got subscribe and like and comment on any of them. And thanks